Good evening, Gearheads. Welcome to your Sunday night with Speed City. We are so excited to be here. We got lots to talk about. This is John Massengale. I'm sitting in the studio surrounded by my buddies Jonathan Green and Les Kaiser. How are you, gentlemen?
All right.
All right.
Definitely all right this week.
We got a lot to talk about. We have our guest tonight. Very exciting. We have a member of the royal family. We do. Adam Andretti going to be joining us here momentarily.
And he's a member of our family, too, because he's commentating with us.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, we'll lead right into that. We're going to talk a lot about Moto Gp. We've got a lot of Formula One, but we're going to talk some Moto Gp tonight because Moto Gp is coming to Coda in just a few days. And we'll be out there on the microphones. We'll be doing a little radio show. If you want to hear the race live, you can hear it on 1370 AM in Austin. And Jonathan and Kevin Schwantz and Adam Andretti are going to be mostly manning the microphones, Les and I filling in as needed.
You know, think about that. How many shows do you have two legendary names in it? Schwantz and Andretti.
Not bad.
Not a bad little gig.
And you've talked motorcycles a time or two in your day, Mr. Green.
Oh, crikey, yes. Both MotoGP and World Superbikes for many a year.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's funny now. I'm looking at some of the kids now that are riding, you know, or the team managers who were starting out, you know.
Yeah, they were kids when you were.
Yeah. Fonzie Nieto now runs the team. I remember his career, you know, it's kind of bizarre. It all goes full circle. Remy Gardner, I used to commentate back in 1987 on his father's world championship.
Oh God.
That's Wayne Gardner.
Oh, you're not that old.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to talk a lot of MotoGP, a lot of Formula One. We're going to talk about Vegas, and we're going to start with that. But we're also going to talk about the new F1 rules and some other F1 stories. So kick back, grab yourself a cup of coffee or some other beverage, and enjoy the show. Let's talk Viva Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
Yes, it's happening. So tonight, before the show...
I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Before the show, we had a huge, lavish meal to celebrate our 10th anniversary.
Massive.
Huge.
Thank you for really, you know.
Thank you, Thundercloud Subs.
Thank you, Thundercloud Subs.
Anyway, we were talking about the 10 years, and we talked, for most of the 10 years, if you've listened to us, we've talked, the most recurring theme has been what needs to be done to grow Formula One in the United States. Well, somebody came along, I guess Sean Bratches came along and had an idea about Netflix and took care of all of that for us. We banged on about everything from drivers to circuits to teams and everything else, and lo and behold, Netflix did it for us. And now we have a third race in the United States. So we've got Coda in Miami this year and Vegas joining us in November. And that was a pretty cool live show they had, wasn't it?
That was nice. That was great.
And, you know, whether you like Vegas or you don't like Vegas, it's a huge step.
Who doesn't like Vegas?
Well, but, you know, I mean, you may not be a gambler. I mean,
I'm not a gambler at all, but I absolutely love Vegas.
All right. So what I'm saying is Vegas also is changing as a city. They want it to become, now they've got an NFL franchise, they want it to become a sport destination. They did it with boxing. It was successful, but boxing's such a unique stroke, you know, sort of niche sport for those that love it. And it does have that sort of gambling aspect too, so that's great. But they haven't really attracted mainline sport. And now they've got NFL, and now they've got Formula One.
All right. Somebody out there is going, Jonathan Green doesn't know what he's talking about. Formula One was already there.
No one would ever say that, surely, Les.
I don't know who Shirley is, but I agree with her. And I will say, yes, back in the...
Shut your mouth.
There you go. Early 1980s, yes, there was a Formula One race taking place in Las Vegas.
There was two. Alan Jones won one, and Michele Alboreto won the other.
It was in the
You don't know what you're dealing with here, Les. Come on,
It was in the parking lot of Caesar's Palace.
I know, and Eddie Cheever, an American.
You know, we do autocrosses in parking lots in Texas.
Eddie Cheever, an American, was on the podium.
There you go.
And did you know it was Mario Andretti's last race, 1982?
That I did not know. That is very interesting.
In a Ferrari. He came seventh.
Okay, Shirley, you got to give him a little credit back.
See, you know, you're going to say, man, you got to get up early.
All right,
mess with me.
Well, you've invoked the Andretti name, and we happen to have our guest on the line, so let's bring him onto the show.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
Adam Andretti, are you there? Come in, Mr. Andretti.
Jonathan Green, my friend, how are you?
I'm very well. I was just talking about your uncle's his last race in Formula One was at Las Vegas. How about that?
Yes, it was. Yeah, the Caesar's Palace.
There you go. See, what do you think? I mean, we're going to talk MotoGP with you, but what do you think of Vegas Formula One coming to Vegas?
Oh, it's long overdue, especially now that they do they do these street courses quite proper, and like what they're building in Miami, what we've seen in Europe and in the Middle East, they've done just such a fantastic job, and in Asia as a matter of fact. So I think this is going to just be on par with that. Keeps the United States on the global stage with Formula One, and adds a third date here in the United States, a fifth date, overall in North America with Mexico and Montreal, if they get Montreal back on, which I don't see any reason why they wouldn't this year. So that's fantastic. Just so exciting for all the Formula One fans and the growth of the sport here in North America, as we've seen.
Hey, Adam, I was watching this conversation online. It says, really, now the United States has 3 races, they're going to dilute the audience. And, one of the best responses was geographically. Somebody had taken the outline of the U.S. and they laid it over several different parts of Europe.
Yeah.
And in some places, there were like 5 races in that geographic span there. And so, I'm with you on that. I think it's going to be just fine having this many. We could probably throw in one more.
Yeah, I mean, they used to do it no problem back in the 70s. I mean, you had 70s and 80s. We know that. We've seen it with Long Beach, Phoenix, Vegas, Watkins Glen. All those were on the schedule. So, we've seen numerous dates here in Formula One dates in the United States. It's worked quite well. And, I think it is exciting. I'm super excited as a Formula One fan. As a passionate advocate for the sport, I'm super happy about it, because that's an audience that you want to be in front of, and you can't dilute that audience. It's way too big of an audience. Actually, I mean, as quick as these events are selling out, and what the premium that they're getting for just to get through the gate is a sign of the times that it's healthy.
Adam, by way of introduction, I want to just give everybody who may not be familiar with what you do for a real job, and that is you are a Trans Am driver. As all the Andretti's, you have to be a driver. It's like you can't join the Andretti family unless. I mean, I wonder what the wives must think. They must have a go-kart practice if you to get into the family. But no, Adam is currently racing in TA2 and is vying for the championship. And he's teamed up actually with the current champion Rafa Matos. He's also unfortunate enough to work with me in Trans Am when he's not racing Trans Am, because he does the other races, and we do a few historic. That's me. But Adam, by way of intro, how's your season going, first of all? But then we're going to talk about your real passion, which of course is MotoGP.
Well, if our results would be where we've been running, we'd be leading the championship right now. Unfortunately, the reality is not that. We've had a crazy weird luck deal in Sebring, where I took a piece of debris into the differential cooler, and that dumped our differential fluid everywhere, which I ran the rest of the race with no diff fluid in the rear end gear, and it didn't break. But unfortunately, when you have, that's an easy pass for a competitor, is to come over the radio and to call in to the race control and say so-and-so car's dumping fluid, and right. And you come down pit road and you can't hide it, right? It's all over the back of the car. So that cost us 3 laps. We went 3 laps down, came out the tail of the field, and I didn't know I was 3 laps down. I thought I was only 1. So I drove back through the field, and that would have been an easy podium day for us at Peterson Racing. And then the second round 2 at Charlotte, it went to plan. We had a good qualifying in P3 and finished right there in P3 and took home a car. And then at Road Atlanta, we had a very good run going. We had a restart in P3 and was inside of Brent Cruz for P2, and just had an unfortunate situation where there wasn't enough racetrack for the amount of cars where it wanted to be. And
hang on, what did your chief mechanic describe it as? Because I want to know if the boys know this expression.
It's called a pit maneuver.
Sure.
Now, who out there knows what a pit maneuver is?
The cops use it.
They get
their Crown Vic on the fender, man.
That's exactly what happened to Adam. But he wasn't
PIT
arrested.
PIT is a acronym, right? Do you guys know what the acronym is?
Oh, I shouldn't. Hold on. Let's see.
Now, careful.
Police intercept. Police intercept trajectory. No, I don't know. What is it?
It's pursuit intervention technique.
There you go. Look at the
Yeah.
brilliance we have on our show this weekend.
So it's a pursuit tactic by which a pursuing car can force a fleeing car to turn sideways abruptly, causing the driver to lose control and stop. So absolutely exactly what happened to me.
That sounds like you're reading Wikipedia to me, buddy.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good drive. That sounds like a racing driver excuse. Is that another thing that the Andretti's work on over Christmas?
He's just showing he can read.
Yeah, no, if I'm going to call out trivia, I got to make sure I get every word right.
That's
or
true.
else, you know,
That's true.
Now, more importantly, go on.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, I said more importantly, well, first of all, here's the formal offer. Will you come and do MotoGP with us, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Okay,
Yep.
and with that in
Yep.
mind, what did you think of the first 3 rounds?
It's been, amazing in all 3 classes, right? First let's do the lower classes with Moto 3 and Moto 2. You got basically Dennis Foggia, who's just taking control of Moto 3. Now he had a formidable competitor today in Sergio Garcia, which I think that's going to be a year-long battle. I think we're going to see those two go tooth and nail.
Well, I'm amazed that since he's given up golf, Sergio's so good on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I know he's phenomenal on 2 wheels. But, yeah, it is. Yeah, why give up the stick and ball if
We can ride a motorcycle
on 2 wheels? That's the only thing that's going to get you from that. And then in Moto 2, Celestino Vietti is carrying those VR46 colors proud, and he is definitely he's got control of Moto 2. He hasn't finished any worse than second, and but right there, right there, is and I'm drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank on our winner today in Moto 2?
Alish Espargaro.
No, sorry. Somcat Chantra.
Oh yeah,
Chantra.
Sorry, yeah. The tie rider. Yeah,
He won last week in Indonesia. He's caught fire. Sorry, I apologize for drawing a blank, but yeah, Somcat's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And his personality. He's a star, future star in the sport. So I tell you, through the first 2 classes, how deep it is. It shows us how exciting as a motorcycle fan we have it in store for us for the next couple decades to come. And then into MotoGP, after today, with the phenomenal win by Aprilia and Aleix, God bless, they have earned that like time and time again. What a popular win that is. But they now have 12 riders on the grid on Sunday that have won MotoGP races.
That's wild.
And yeah, there's not another professional sport or motorsport that has that depth of field going on in it.
We just talked about Vegas. I can't think anybody would put odds on the 4th round of the World Championship being led by Aprilia and KTM.
Yeah, what you were saying when we went to dinner about that they've, you said this is the first time they won in the Premier class. I was like,
first time ever.
They have a huge racing history. I was like, that can't be. And
No, they've got 54 titles, but all of they started as a motorcycle. They were a moped company after the war, right?
Yeah.
And they're now owned by Piaggio, the group. So they've got a lot more inputs, but it was only a small operation, smaller than Ducati, in fact. So they made mopeds. So they were known for 125s
Well,
and
that's
250s.
what you want to be winning if you're selling
And
mopeds.
they won 54 world titles, but they've never won at the highest level. Because they made the RS4 and there's Tuano and a few others, but they it's only since this project only began in 2015, so they've been at it 6 years now.
All right, well,
isn't it Aprilia that has the Max Biaggi moped edition?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How cool is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we need to get a few messages in here. When we come back, we'll continue to talk MotoGP. We are going to talk lots more Formula One later in the show. And what do you got, Johnny?
Can you stay with us? Adam, can you stay with us through the break?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes,
all right, we got Adam Andretti. So we'll be back after a quick break.
Hi, this is Jeff Gordon, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, welcome back. What do you got, Johnny Green?
Well, that just reminded me, Jeff Gordon.
Yep.
I had the real privilege of announcing last week with Ray Everingham, who
Really?
nurtured Jeff Gordon to 3 Winston Cup titles.
There
Awesome.
you go.
What a nice man. What a nice man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, quick snippet. You hear the music playing.
Yep.
Sounds
The
like a tune.
concerts have been announced for Formula One USGP.
That's
Ed
right.
Sheeran and Green Day. So,
Awesome.
hey, both great shows.
One for me and one for my daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah, Green Day is definitely I'm a fan.
There you go.
And Sheeran, I like that song. I know a few of his songs. I'm
Yeah,
not a-
I do. You know, sometimes they're kind of
And
sad.
if
but-
you come to the Formula One, you will have the time of your life.
Nicely played.
All righty.
You know what that song reminds me of? That was played as they were going out of the show, the final episode of Seinfeld. They were playing that song.
Of course, it has
That
a
was
Seinfeld.
what, 1973?
1998,
Oh, okay.
actually. I don't care how you joke that I'm old, but I know the dates. Started in '89,
Because I'm
finished
old and have been around the block.
That's it. Exactly.
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 All right, we have Mr. Adam Andretti on the line.
Who's not that old.
And we're talking motorcycles. The folks at Coda we're talking about bringing Adam in to help in this. Andretti, he's a motorcycle expert. I said, heck
yeah.
he's a motorcycle expert. He knows more about bikes than he's forgotten more than you know.
Yeah.
So,
And I didn't know, but Aldo and Mario actually did used to ride motorcycles too, didn't they, Adam?
Well, yeah, they had a little, they had a little moped. Well, bicycles were their main thing, right? You know, in Italy growing up, and but no, they loved the motorcycle riders. I mean, that was Agostini and the gang. I mean, they're obviously very passionate about that, but it was a car racing that grabbed a hold of them because car racing, they were both dangerous, but motorcycles, you were looked at as absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Back then, and I mean, a lot of people still look at them that way today, but we tend to accept insanity better than it was accepted back in those days. So,
Things are a little safer, though.
Yeah, exactly. To go that route was complete insanity. But I think, honestly, it was something I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to race bikes, and so I have a serious passion for all two-wheel racing. I love Supercross. I love MotoGP. I love Moto America. I love World Superbike. I just love road racing with the Isle of Man and all the other events that they have, and just it's just, to me, it's you're still seeing the pinnacle athletes in motorsports. There's still, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of, I mean, obviously it's motorsports, so it's financially driven, but you have to be passionate about riding a motorcycle to the limit to put your life on the line like you are when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not just somebody looking for a hobby. You don't see a lot of people that have business interests, hiking their leg over a motorcycle and going racing.
That's a really
That's a good point.
That's a really good point because
Yeah.
it is still dangerous. I mean,
You're committed.
we've seen some deaths in motorcycle racing in the last few years,
yeah.
so it does happen.
Well, okay. Now he danced all around it. Adam, do you have two
Yeah.
wheels in your garage?
Of course I do.
What do you got?
I have a little dirt bike. I have it's a dual sport, so it's a CRF 250L.
Nice.
Nice.
There you
And,
go.
yeah, it's a perfect little bike, and it's great. It travels well, so I love it. It's a fantastic machine. It's a Honda, so you can drain the oil out of it and it'll still run.
Yeah.
So
Unlike a rear differential. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to dislike it, not to dislike it, but yeah, it's two-wheel sports are phenomenal, and I think they're great family activities, and it's unlike four-wheel sport. When you got two wheels, it's half the money. To get started in it, it's half the amount of money you spend on tires, it's half the amount of money you spend on the equipment, and you just cut kind of everything in half right away. And now as you get up to MotoGP and Formula One levels, when you start cutting $175 million in half, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you look at the teams, what the factories spend in MotoGP, but again, to that point, just what a beautiful weekend for Aprilia, and I'm a big Aprilia fan. Like, being an Italian heritage, everyone thinks I'm the Ducati guy, but I love Ducati and I have an appreciation for it. But me, I had an Aprilia in my garage at one point in my life. I had an RSV Mille R.
Oh, yeah.
In 1999, and that was the best road bike I've ever owned, still to this day. So I'm a massive Aprilia fan, and to see first of all, the RSGP to me takes my breath away. I think it's the most beautiful bike in the paddock. I think it has been over the last 3 years. The Honda I think is the second most beautiful bike in the paddock this year, and the Honda never really catches my eye, but this year's Honda is really a beautiful bike. But that Aprilia, to see it in Victory Lane, and CLH have the weekend he has, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Wow.
what a weekend, dominant. I mean, I think he was on top in every session.
Yeah, amazing.
And yeah, just a phenomenal weekend for the guy. You love it for the guy. And have you guys been watching MotoGP Unlimited? Have you gotten through that series yet?
No, I grabbed today. I looked it up and marked it where I would, one of my favorites, so I could watch it, but I haven't been watching it. Hey, Adam, we have somebody asking a question on YouTube. And by the way, thanks everybody for watching on YouTube. Give us a like if you like it. And if you are here and you're not subscribed, give us a subscribe. But Adam, Thomas Steele says, will Cameron Beauvier get a podium at Coda?
Ooh.
I think he's got a heck of a shot. I think when we start getting to the tracks that Cameron's been to last year, and Coda especially, since now he knows what to expect out of a Moto2 bike there, I think he is making, unfortunately, and I love the kid Joe Roberts, but I think he's making Joe regret that decision of leaving American racing every day, because ever since Joe left there, it's been a struggle for that young American over there on the Italtrans team, and this weekend was no different for him. And Cameron seemed to have, it wasn't a great weekend, but his first time ever in Argentina. So another first for him. And it was a first for Joe, too. I don't think Joe had been there either, because they had not been there since 2019. I don't know if Joe was around in 2019. I have to check my notes. But anyway, that to me was an amazing run. I think Cameron did a great job over the weekend, and again keeping it clean. And I think we could get him on the podium. I think he could see top of the box at some point this year. And I think Coda would be the perfect place for it.
Yeah, ironically, we got 3 Americans, if you don't know. We got 3 Americans in MotoGP, i.e. the Moto2 version of MotoGP. They are, of course, Joe Roberts, who's been around for a couple of years now and is very, very talented. But funnily enough, has grown up racing most of his career in Europe. He did do a couple of seasons in Super Sport in Moto America. But Beauvier, absolutely. I've seen him win at Coda, and he has probably run Coda 4 or 5 times, and they tested there. They used to do their preseason testing. So Cameron absolutely is a good bet for a really good result. The other is Sean Dillon Kelly, who was also raced Coda. So he's just brand new, is Kelly, into the Moto2, and so he's not getting anywhere near the likes of Roberts and Beauvier, but who are pretty much on even measures. They both got points today, but cheer them on. They know this circuit. This is a good chance for at least all 3 of them to be in the top 10.
That'd be awesome. Hey, Jonathan, what about, and you too, Adam, what about the track surface? Because the resurfacing that we had the gentleman on from Coda a couple months ago talked about a huge portion of Coda that's been resurfaced because of MotoGP last year. Really, that was kind of the final straw, wasn't it?
Well, and it's interesting because I heard the commentators talking about, next week we're going to be in the bumpy Austin circuit, and I'm like, not anymore, buddy, because we flattened 10, we flattened 2, and we have literally resurfaced most of the stadium section. Am I right? You tell me.
Absolutely. Quite a bit. It's been resurfaced. They've been doing track day events, and so there's a lot of rubber down. It's not going to be nearly as green as we often see of a track, having just been resurfaced. So it really is ready to go.
Adam, you raced it in Trans Am, which is actually a pretty good, parallel in terms of what you're dealing with in a muscle car to what the guys are. How bumpy was it for you last year?
Oh, it was brutal. I'm not going to lie. But to me, I like the characteristics that it made, because bumpy was the same for everybody, and
that's what Schwantz says.
That's what Kevin Schwantz said. Yeah.
And as much as I love these heroes that hike their leg over the bike, Coda was one of the least amount of wrecks of any circuit last year throughout the weekend. You can look that up. And then when you look at the place that had the most accidents, the most in one corner, they're both the same track, and that's Le Mans. Turn 2, I forget, it was like 26 MotoGP bikes went down. It was like 70-something throughout the weekend of the 3 classes, and just turn 2. But yet, Le Mans still has the same turn 2. They're not changing anything. They're not profiling anything differently. They just say, well, that's Le Mans. well, this is Coda. But I mean, God bless Coda for, I appreciate the powers that be at Coda for stepping up, because otherwise we wouldn't have MotoGP there, because they were threatening not to come back. But God bless them for doing that, because the two-wheel show here is the best. But I'm with Johnny Green. I don't think the two-wheel rodeo or the rodeo is going to be in town again. I think it's going to be a great awakening for all the riders, and you know, I think where Alicia Spargo probably wasn't going to be real happy coming to Coda. I think once he get here, he's going to be really happy, because he did not have. He's coming in here as a point leader this year, but I tell you what, you look at his performance last fall when they were at Circuit of the Americas, and he was not a happy camper.
I tell you what I like about what I'm looking at here, looking at the championship points, is the fact that this is the most. I mean, and Marquez has played a part on that. I want to talk about that after this break. But we got to talk about Mark, but because of his record, obviously, and will he, won't he? But it's so wide open. Bastianini, Binder, Espargaro, Rins, Quartararo, Juan Mir, all Grand Prix winners, some world champions. Zarco in there. He's another world champion from 250. I mean, there's so many people capable of winning, and the championship's wide open, especially with Marquez out.
All right, let's get a break in, and we'll talk about. I'm interested in this show to talk about where the Americans are in the standings right now in Moto2. All right, you listen to Speed City. We're live in Austin, Texas. More MotoGP and more Formula One discussion coming up after this.
Hello, I'm Jenny Gow from BBC F1. You are listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, welcome back. We have our guest Adam Andretti on the line. We're talking MotoGP right now. We got some Formula One discussion coming up momentarily, but I wanted to reiterate what we're going to be doing for MotoGP radio broadcast-wise. The MotoGP race is at 1 p.m. Austin time on Sunday, and we're going to go live at 12:30. Have a half-hour pre-show here on Talk 1370, and then we're going to have a 1-hour post-show, and so we'll be on from 2 to 3 for that. So, yeah, 12:30 to 3 on Sunday right here on Talk 1370, and you can catch it on the internet. They have a stream. We'll have all the links out on our social media. Where were we? Jonathan, you got something?
I got a question for Adam. Will he, won't he? Marc Marquez, the king of COTA. Adam, you've just come off an injury yourself. Self-inflicted, I may add. But we won't talk about that, no. He was on one. The trouble was he wasn't on 4 wheels or 2 wheels.
He was on one wheel. Well, yeah.
That's the problem right there.
Okay, when you get here, we're going to tell you the story of Jonathan Turtle Racing with Lee Diffie.
No, don't tell Andretti about that. Adam, will he, won't he? Marc Marquez has totally dominated proceedings at COTA over the last decade. Will he do it again? Will he come back and race?
If he shows up, I think it's his. I mean, I think it's that everyone chases him. He's special there. He knows he's special there. He's got the right kind of confidence. I don't see the signs that he's going to make it. What I mean by the signs is I haven't heard anything about him getting back on a bike. Now, the last time he suffered this double vision, this diplopia, he was back on a bike, and they had him on bikes, a good week before they actually had him on a MotoGP bike, and they had him first on the training bike, and then they had him on the street version, the RC213V street version of that, and I haven't seen any of that yet. So, but I hope he's here, because he brings so much energy to the paddock. It brings another feared person, and when he lines up on grid, and that's the only reason I didn't say 13. When he lines up on grid, it'll be 13 MotoGP winners on that grid, and that's absolutely phenomenal and incredible, and speaks volumes to the sport where it's at, the depth of it. So, yeah, I hope so. And Valentino Rossi, if you want to swing over to cars, he started. Yeah. He did the 3 hours of Imola today, and
he missed his pit stop.
had to hand over the car and botched the pit stop. Yep, drove right by the pits and ended up 17th.
Yeah, he's driving, and that was actually his first professional. As you know, he's running a team or 2 teams now in MotoGP, but he has now finally started professionally his 4-wheel career. So we'll
give him a break.
We hope to get him in Trans Am as soon as we can, don't we, Adam?
Oh, it'd be brilliant. Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine having the doctor in Trans Am?
There's a lot of power, Adam.
Hey, go back to
Yeah.
Marquez.
Oh,
Making me happy.
Making me very
Man,
happy.
he would love it.
Going back to
Yeah,
Mark
he
Marquez.
He would be so happy.
So Marquez only missed the one, what was it, 19? Because we didn't have it in
That's right.
20 because of COVID. And 19 is when he slipped down there and turned 12 or
That's
turned
right.
11.
Yep.
But every other time he's been to COTA, he's won, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Amazing.
And remember, he was one of the ones that high-sided off of 18 when they had that bump there.
Don't you remember he also almost missed qualifying when he had to run back and get his second bike?
Yeah.
Literally run about
Still put it on
1,000
pole.
feet. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I would sorely miss him, but it has opened up this year's championship. I mean, you name who's going to win the title. I bet you can't. Nobody can. Adam, who do you think's going to win the title?
Honestly, I think Aleix and Aprilia, if they can stay on this form. So here's what I saw this weekend at Argentina.
Go on.
They found something. They found something in Indonesia. And they were not shy about it. Maverick even talked about it. And whatever they found there, it translated over to Argentina and just built their confidence. I saw an Aleix Espargaro inside that paddock that was incredibly relaxed. Now, I don't want to spoiler alert for MotoGP Unlimited, but the only spoiler alert I'll give you is if you think you love Aleix now, you're only going to love him more after the first couple episodes of that, because it shows you what kind of person he is and what kind of passion he has for what he does and what he pulls out of his out of the group there at Aprilia. And like you said, Jonathan, and so wise beyond your years on Aprilia's history, but yeah, Aprilia is tiny. It is such a small operation of people. You wouldn't even believe that this little building and this little group of people puts out the motorcycles that they put out. And the same people that build the street bikes build the race bikes. It's an awesome touch. It really is. That's why I loved my RSV Melee R so much, and that's why one day, hopefully in the near future, I will have another Aprilia sitting up on the kickstand.
Yeah, when you look at an Aprilia, although they're a production bike, it looks as though it's been handmade for you.
Ding, ding, ding.
Literally,
ding, ding.
it's almost a piece of art. It really is something quite special. No question about it. Ross, I just want to get. What do you think? What do you reckon to Rossi going 4 wheels? Where do you think he's going to end up?
Who knows? For him, I think just hit the big endurance races. If I was him, I would focus on
Le Mans,
on getting the 24 hours of the Nürburgring and the 12 hours of Spa and the 24 hours of Le Mans and the 24 hours of Daytona and the 12 hours of Sebring and knock those ones out, the big endurance hits, and then see where you go from there. But the guy, honestly, the world is his oyster on 4 wheels. I think anything but Formula One, someone would give him a shot at.
Yeah.
And I think even in Formula One, who knew? But I think the super license deal would be so difficult at this point in his age. By the time he would qualify for that, I think he would probably lose interest, or those behind him would. But IndyCar would take him. Everyone, it's Valentino Rossi.
Yeah.
No one would say no.
He could do anything. Yeah.
That's funny. IndyCar? I don't. It's pretty skilled at that level, but still, that'd be fun.
Do you know how much of an impact?
I'm not saying he'd be at the pointy end of IndyCar. I'm saying that if he wanted to go do IndyCar, he could.
Yeah, he could.
I think anybody would take him, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
A drop of the hat. Wait, you got who?
Yeah, exactly.
Sponsorship, I'm in,
By the way, just the impact that man has had, there was a complete grandstand dedicated to the 46 today in Argentina, and he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
That's pretty special.
Yeah.
My man for the year, hang on, I'll just tell you who my man for the year is, Jorge Martin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's who you're saying is going to
Number
He's 10th in the championship, and he's had a couple of spills. He fell in the rain in Indonesia, but he's had 3 front row starts, and bar and a brilliant display by Aleix, he would have won today too.
He's one of the guys that came up through the Red Bull Rookie Series. Was the first time we met him here at Coda.
He's got a connection here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's got some in-law outlaws here, and so
In-law outlaws.
I don't-
Texas
I
in-law
don't know.
outlaws. I
Yes.
like it.
I don't know. I know
Hey,
her. So, yeah.
speaking of where people are in the standings, I want to get this in. Joe Roberts and Cameron Beauvier are at 11 and 12,
Yeah.
just outside the top 10. So,
Not bad.
Hey, podiums here could easily happen. There is such a thing as home field advantage for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Well, certainly for Beauvier, yeah.
All right, so before we move on from MotoGP, we're going to go to a break. Before we do that, I want to try to get some picks for this weekend for Coda. Let's let Adam go last. Johnny Green, who do you
Jorge
say?
Martin.
All right, Les Kaiser.
I was going to say the same.
Uh,
Maybe Quartararo.
You know Kevin's going to go for Rins.
okay, yeah, that's true. I'm going to say Brad Binder.
All right, the South African wonder
Nice.
kid.
Yep. What about you, Adam?
He's
I
gone.
tell you, I'm gonna stick with the momentum on Aleix Espargaro. I think Aleix
right.
is going to come in with some momentum, and I say Aleix and his brother Paul will be 1-2, and I'm going to put Jorge Martin as third.
Wow.
Nice.
How much time we got?
Well, we got a couple minutes for the
All
break.
right, I just want to ask Adam. Adam, I know this has nothing to do with you, but you do know Uncle Mario and you do know Cousin Michael. Are they serious about this F1 thing?
Hold
We
it.
think so.
Wait a minute. Let's go to the break. That's the best.
That's not a short answer.
No!
That's the best tease I've ever heard. So we're going to go to the break and let Adam answer that after the break. All right, listening to Speed City live from Austin, Texas. Back after this.
Hello to everyone, this is Gunther Steiner, this is Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, we're going to talk some Formula One now, and we're going to go back to the question, and you're going to ask it again, Jonathan, but let's talk about all of our Formula One coverage.
I just want to thank Gunter for his fine
I-
blossom
oh, gee.
language that has got us so many hits.
Yeah. So speaking of our F1 coverage, we have our pre and post race show that are on national radio. You have to go to our website to find out where, because we're not on national radio right now. And we also have a new show that we do with Chris Medland on Wednesdays. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Austin time. Go to our website for that.
Just
too.
started, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Wheel to Wheel. You can look that up. Yeah, we just started. We've had
And
two
it's
shows.
fascinating. It really is an insight. Talking to Medland and getting the insight from the paddock.
Yeah, and if you
Awesome.
don't know who Chris Medland is, he is probably one of the most respected, if not the most, F1 journalist right now because he travels to every race. And he's on our pre and post race show.
He also writes for Racer magazine.
Yeah, writes for Racer, writes for Motorsport, writes for F1.com. And for the races, he has a rig that he walks around with a microphone and a cell connection, and he gets everybody live on the grid, both before and after the race.
He's not got Lindsey Vaughn, though. has he?
Well, he never got, he's no less Kaiser, but anyway, it's
Lindsey Vaughn coming by, American skier. Hey, Lindsey. Hey, how are you?
Hell of an interview. That was one of your longest interviews ever. Hi.
So we've got all that. Where was I going? I had something else, and you made me completely
That's
blow
great.
it out.
Nice work, Casey.
Anyway, go back and ask Adam your question again.
Adam, we've heard a lot about Andretti. We had Mario, thanks to you, appreciating a fantastic South by Southwest chat with him. I still think a lot of people are dubious given the Alfa Romeo thing and everything that's happened, but you're going to tell me different. Michael is a serious businessman, is he not?
100%. Yeah, he. This is not ever a joke for him. This Andretti Autosport has been a passion project for him, and he's taken on ownership of a race team with, I would argue, more ferociously than he has, in his driving career. And he was a ferocious driver. I mean, he went after it, and I think he's that much more passionate as an owner. So. When they're sitting there talking, it's not just to hear themselves talk. There's something behind it, and there's some merit behind it, and I'm anxious to hear because a majority of what I'm going to hear is not going to be until announcements are made. But yeah, I'm just as anxious as everyone else is to see how this evolves and develops, and because I think Andretti Global and putting the name in Formula One is. And the time is right, with the budget cap the way that it is, and some of the share components and things of that sort, or generalized components, I should say, in Formula One, I think has made it more attractive for new owners to come in. So I think Michael could also hopefully snowball some other, new entities to come into the sport and to be more competitive than what a new entity used to be. And so I think the opportunity is there, and I know I wish them all the best, and my hopes and prayers are with them that they get exactly what they're looking for out of this.
Yeah, and my hope, and I'm sure you can add to this, but the idea of Mario, he's getting on in years, but to him to show up at Monza in front of his people that he grew, where he grew up, with his name on the side of the car, that'll be special for him and the Italian fans.
And you know what? Watching Mario at our South by Southwest deal and watching Michael on those videos where he did for that organization last year, those guys have a ton of fire in the belly is what I would call it. I mean, obviously, Mario, you have to race at the level he did, but he still got it at 80 whatever years old, 82 years old or whatever he is. But Michael, my favorite, I've said it many times, but when you tell him that he's not going to be able to do it, when Alfa Romeo told him he was like, oh, we're not done with this.
Yeah.
And I believe what Adam just said very strongly is that they don't just say stuff. Yeah. They are doers. They are not just talkers.
But Adam, don't you think it'll be full circle for Mario especially?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know that it's another thing that just keeps you going, keeps you excited and keeps your drive alive. And he's got a plan. My Uncle Mario stays very motivated, and that's it's a blessing to have that blood run through your veins, because you get to witness. I tell people all the time, I say, you want to learn how to live your life, just watch that man for a few hours, and he'll teach you how to live. It's to the absolute fullest, and yeah, he lives a very blessed life. He's very humble about it, I tell people all the time, I said, I have a great family, but not for the reasons that most people think, because they see the achievements and all the things that go along with that. But really, it's honestly, they're just an amazing group of people, and they're just incredibly driven. And like you guys just said, don't tell them no. I mean, not if you don't want them to do it, because it's just going to make the fire grow. It just adds fuel to it. So, and that deal, the way it happened with Alfa Romeo, I think it just made Michael hungrier and wanted more, and it made the group, the financial group, hungrier and wanted more. And who knows, maybe they'll ever having said that, because you never know what the future will hold, and you might not want them as a competitor, is what I'm saying.
I love it that not only did Alfa Romeo say no, but so did Toto Wolff, and Christian Horner started talking a little smack like
Haas said no.
Yeah, well, Haas said no. That's true. But everybody's going, do we need another team? There's all this stuff about there's no invitation going on right now.
How about this then for the full history lesson? The race in 1982 at Caesar's Palace, pole position was a certain Alain Prost with a Renault engine.
There you go.
There you go.
As we know, that name has been leaked as the Andretti power unit partner.
Well, and the sport needs more teams always. I don't care where you're at in the sport. You should never deny an entry of a team. Now, granted, you should bet them and make sure it's serious, and you don't want someone coming in and out and blowing in and out of the sport.
Adam, you're going to vet the Andretti team, and I'm not saying that to you, obviously, but it's like, really, Christian Horner, really, Toto Wolff, you're doubting an American Andretti Formula One effort? Hello is all I can say to that, because the American sponsors, everything.
Well, it's flattering to have the two team principals that have won the last world championships, all the world championships over the last decade plus. It's flattering to have them so threatened by
exactly
by this. So, I think if they kept them out, were quiet about the whole thing and never said a word, and that certainly wouldn't have as much impact. But it makes you feel kind of good that they're out there and barking a little bit, because it means that they're nervous, which is good. They should be.
There you go.
Three races and two teams. That's going to rock. Well, three teams if you look at it.
Yeah.
Williams as well.
Yeah.
By the way, Williams won the race.
I just think Andretti's going to wind up, coming
82.
in, not Will Smith style, but they're going to come in and shake up the place on track.
They're going to slap somebody?
Oh my gosh!
They're going to take it to the track and show it.
I'm not going to dignify that performance with any discussion.
You're quite right.
Adam Andretti, I want to ask you. I want to shift gears and I want to talk about Formula One 2022 cars, aerodynamics, DRS, passing, following, passing again. What do you think about what's going on in Formula One right now?
I think we're just seeing the beginning of this new package. So if they're doing this good with it already, once the teams that were surprised haven't got it figured out just quite yet, with the porpoising and the ground and the effect of the floor and how the floor is going to change. When you're pulling the majority of your downforce from the floor, it's obviously what we're witnessing are a lot of these teams suffering the porpoising effect. It's become the new mainstream term in Formula One amongst the fans and all, but porpoising is nothing new to anybody.
Seems a bit fishy to me.
Yeah, it seems fishy, but it's nothing new compared to people that have been around, high downforce cars for a long time, saw it in IMSA GTP. But I forget who made the point that I don't think it's a coincidence that the car that's got the best attitude out there is Adrian Newey's Red Bull, and Adrian was probably arguably the only designer that had success during the ground effects era, the last ground effects era of Formula One, and he was in the ground effects era of IndyCar.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I forgot he did it IndyCar before that. Yeah, it's a very good point.
So I think I don't think that's a coincidence. Plus, Ferrari obviously has a lot of notes, and Ferrari has not struggled. They have a lot of notes from the ground effects era. I honestly look for Williams to come out of the box a little bit stronger than they did because of how strong they were during the ground effects era. And McLaren, I wasn't expecting McLaren to have their struggles that they've been experiencing, quite honestly. So I think, there's been a couple of shocks in that aspect. It's exciting to see that Ferrari speed is real, because when Ferrari speed is real, Formula One the growth of the sport is so good and so strong, and it's so good for the sport. And I love the dynamic duo they have there in Charles and Carlos. I think it's a very, very good group. And Checo and Max, they're right there for the pouncing, and that car's acting very, very well. So I think it's going to be another very exciting season in Formula One.
All righty. Well, in another couple of seasons, there's a new name coming to the grid, is the rumors as of this week. Last week, it was teased that Porsche, Audi, and VW will come to the grid. We also know that Porsche was involved in some of the power unit specification specs that were developed a couple of years ago for the future F1. Rumor has it, as of this past week, that they're coming to the grid and that they are already discussing relationships with Red Bull.
Yeah, I saw that.
So hopefully this week we will. Hopefully this week there'll be a little bit more to that.
Speaking of Porsche, I'd like to welcome a new sponsor to the show, Roof Automobiles of Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm trying to get some parts for my car.
Yeah,
it sounds like a desperate effort there.
Yeah.
You've only got a roof. You need a lot of parts.
Overhead on that car is something else.
Yeah. I could get a roof. I mean, so is that how you say I got a Porsche? Is that you got the roof of one?
You got the roof, and then you're working it from there, the top down.
There's a lot of overhead in that roof.
Okay.
We've just got about 2 minutes left. Let's see. We had a couple stories in here. I know. This is a good one. Hey, Casey, can you put up a graphic? It's in our show doc notes. And it's a graphic of all the states that have hosted a Formula One Grand Prix. And we probably got time to I'm going to run through it and pause them, but let's see.
Watkins Glen.
Yep, here we go.
New York State.
Now they're playing a commercial. It was a little video on Twitter because I can't do it off the top of my head, but here we go. All right, so Florida, 1959.
Yeah, Sebring.
And now 2023. And then California, it was
Long Beach.
Yep, 1960 and 1976 to 1983.
Yep.
And then next on their list was New York, like you said, Watkins Glen.
Yeah, that was the biggest time. Yeah, that was the longest
What's that, Adam?
time.
No, I was just agreeing. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Watkins Glen, New York. Indiana will be on there.
Yeah.
My state.
In fact, next on this list was Nevada, though, 1981-82. There were some not so great
Alan Jones, Michele Alboretti.
Yep. And then, of course,
Arizona.
Arizona's on that list. Michigan, 82 to 88.
Where? Michigan.
Detroit.
Oh, Streets of Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah. Dallas, 84.
Dallas, 84 was the next one on this list.
My
Yep.
dad went to that one.
Yeah.
Arizona, we mentioned that,
And,
89
and
to
it
91.
was so hot that the track melted and Mansell had to push his
That's
car
right.
to the finish.
That's right.
That's the other good news is they're going to do the Vegas race in November when it will be cooler.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about the date. They said either the second or the third weekend. So the weekend before Thanksgiving was the latest. So we got probably Mexico first weekend in November.
Oh, I like that. So you come back to your family for forgiveness after 2 weeks in Vegas.
Exactly. Then Indianapolis, we talked about that, and that's all of them. We covered them all. All right, guys. Well, we are out of time. Adam Andretti, thank you so much. We can't wait to see you this weekend for MotoGP. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live on YouTube and all that. And thanks, everybody who listens and downloads on podcasts. And thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next Sunday at MotoGP.
Ciao, y'all.
Happy trails.
Travel safe, buddy.